Hi, this is Amy at North 40 Outfitters, and today we're going to talk about growing up. If you need to save space in your garden, one of the best ways to do it is by training your plants to grow vertically. This works really well with cucumbers and squash, and of course many varieties of peas and beans. So when you are looking for some way to support these plants to have them grow up versus out, therefore saving you space in the garden, you have to think about a couple of things, a couple of considerations. One of the aspects is to have something that is strong enough. Of course, if you have a fencing system already, a chain link fence or something like that, you can utilize that to have them grow up. Or you can buy a number of different models in the store with the long just flat fencing trellises that go up, or even building your own with an A-frame and string, and you can really have a lot of fun of it. I've even seen different aspects where people use the T-posts and then they bend wire over the top, creating this fabulous tunnel in the garden where you can grow peas, beans, and anything that loves to climb. Another thing that you need to think about too is support for the vegetables, the fruits themselves, those, what you're producing. Cucumbers are typically fine. They grow really nice, they hang really well, not an issue. But if you're going to grow something large like squash or even pumpkins, you're going to want to be able to create a sling underneath of them. Sometimes people use yarn that goes back and forth, or old t-shirts, or even old pantyhose that none of us wear anymore, stringing it underneath the fruit to be able to hold it up as it grows. Now, another thing that we often like to stake and to trellis are tomatoes. Now, tomatoes aren't a vining plant, but by golly, they sure grow tall, and if you don't do something, they're going to flop over, making it difficult to harvest, difficult to work around, and even walk near. A lot of times by the end of the season, if you let tomatoes grow, they're going to cover up a space that's 3-4 feet across, especially if you're growing those indeterminate tomatoes that will grow 6-7 feet tall some years, depending on how hot a summer we have. So you have many options when it comes to tomatoes. Growing up, we often put a single stake in the ground next to the tomato and then often tied that with some either a light twine or pantyhose type thing, something that's very soft that doesn't harm the tomato itself. But lately we have some really good options for individual plants. This more conical tomato cage is terrific. It's nice and sturdy. It's not going to bend and twist on you, and you can push it into the ground and then just bring your little tomato branches into its supportive protective cage. So this is super easy. It's going to hold this tomato, and as the tomato grows up, you're just going to want to make sure as many of those main branches as you can get stay inside this system. So that's going to keep it really nice, keep your fruit accessible, and make it easy to pick and easy to take care of. Similar situation is this really nice little one too. It folds up, which is super handy for storage, because the one challenge with these is they are bulky and it's sometimes difficult to find a place to put them. This one is really nice because not only can you fold it up and tuck it away somewhere, but it's just really handy to set out. Now, it is not quite as vigorous, as sturdy as these types, but it works really well. And this would also be a really good one to plant peas on the inside, or even a cucumber plant or squash plant. Plant that in the center and have it come out and train those vines as the plant is growing, and you're going to have a really nice, very compact and efficient way to keep these vining plants, vining vegetables, as well as your tomatoes. So my favorite way of keeping my tomatoes upright is using something called the Florida weave. Now, while this sounds like a dance, and actually it kind of is, because what we're going to do is we're going to take this twine and weave it back and forth in between the plants. It's really an effective way to sandwich your plants together, keeping them upright and out of the way and having everything easy to pick. Now, there's a couple different ways you can do it. The way I am going to do it today is I only have, about 4 plants and 8 feet or so. So I'm just going to tie it off on this stake at about 8 inches, and then I'm going to go back and forth between each plant. If I had a longer row, and especially if I had indeterminate tomato plants, which are the ones that just keep growing until the frost cuts them down forever, I'll put a stake every 4 feet or so and do 2 at a time. So I would have one after a stake after 2 plants, and then I would just sandwich it on this side and then flip over to the other side for the next set of plants. But for these, we're just going to go back and forth. So I have my twine tied, like I said, about 8 inches, and then I'm just going to loop it. And this is best when the plants are 18 inches to 2 feet tall. For some reason, this one decided to grow exponentially. And then, so I'm just going back and forth, keeping roughly that 8-inch height. And then I'm gonna do a little extra loop-de-loop. Usually I'll go around this end stake a couple of times, trying to keep it pretty tight. It's not like we have to keep it super, super tight. And then we're just gonna go back around the other side. Once again, this other one is still maintaining that 8 inches. And the nice thing is this is nice and gentle on the stems. It doesn't tend to hurt the plant. Sometimes when you're staking, it can snap branches or things like that. So it can be kind of hard, but this is a really nice, gentle way to do it. So same thing. And then we're just going to wind it up a little bit and go up about 8 inches higher and do the same thing on this next level. And so then after we get this done, as the plants grow, we just keep doing it. And that's the nice thing, is as they're trained up, you add these layers and you can keep them under control no matter how tall they get, and they're always easy to handle. Oops. So we're on our last. That can get kind of fun too. So we're on our last little one. Do a few loops. Oops. Cut it off and call it good for now. So there is our Florida weave. We have the plants nice and sandwiched in here. I might just go back through and just kind of bring it to where you have the nice sturdy branches that are well supported. Don't want any of the little ones smooshed. But like I said, this is really nice and easy on the plants, really effective. And then in the fall, the nice thing is it's super easy to take down. All you have to do is cut the twine, pull it, and you have fewer stakes to pull, and it's a lot easier to pick up and put away for the fall. If you have any questions, be sure to comment below. Or if you need in-person help, visit us at any of our North 40 Outfitters stores or stop in at north40.com for all your trellising needs.